furthest thing from a racist. I have never mentioned anything about race. However, I was...
Hey, so this is your child support bestie. This lady works for the Division of Child Support, a fascist wing of the government. And I said she's probably a racist because she was dealing with fathers in a fascist way and was a callous sociopath. I'm going to talk about at least 5 things that's wrong with her and how she's committing a crime of giving legal advice and how she works for a corrupt part of government. And she talks to non-custodial parents, men and women, like a slave. And she shows either live videos of her doing it for collection purposes, and she basically tells on herself. This is a great example. You know, when you talk to your child support enforcement officer, you only talk to them over the phone. You never see them. Look at this woman and how evil these people are. And they think that they're doing God's work and they're an angel sent from heaven to come down and rescue custodial parents from deadbeat parents who don't pay. So I said she's probably racist because she's looking at men and saying, oh, you're not going through anything harsh in family court. You could get 50-50 if you wanted to. You're lying. You're full of crap. All you got to do is show up. So that means you're not showing up if you don't get 50-50. There are men who are suicidal and going through hell because their children were taken from them and a woman lied about child abuse, domestic violence, rape, and all that other stuff. And there's countless lawyers who admit that lawyers coach women to lie because we will bend over backwards to protect women in society. And so women do that all the time in order to get leverage for custody. And this woman thinks that a guy can just go in there and show up in court and say, well, I want 50-50. So she's so callous and evil that she won't listen to another human being saying, this is what I'm going through. This is why I work with men and women, because I'll listen to anybody's story and then look at the evidence. And I've had some people lie to me and I could see they wouldn't really want to be involved in their kids' lives. But out of 25,000 cases since 2001, I've met 9 men who didn't want to be in their kids' lives. Some of them just wanted to do the every other weekend thing. Most of them want 50-50. A few of them want full custody. So because she told guys, I don't believe you. There is no misandry going on. There is no bigotry toward men because I don't see it. And she's standing in a child support office, not in court. She said, well, I've seen some court hearings. She probably saw court hearings where both parties agreed on 50-50. Because that's the only way. You walk in and you show up and you just sign off on it without much of a fight. That's what she was describing. So that's what I have to go off of. She was in ex parte or something where they sign agreed orders. So then I said, well, she's probably racist because that's what racist folks do. They're like, I hear your story about being a black man in America and, you know, what you had to go through all these years or whatever and people treating you differently. I don't believe it because I don't see it. As a white person, I don't feel racism. So it can't be happening to you. And this is why, and racism is overhyped in America a lot of times for political reasons. When BLM happened, all these white people, these white liberals that Malcolm X warned us about, fake phony wolves in sheep clothing, they hopped the bandwagon. Ooh, I'm down for the anti-racism program. Yeah, I hate racism. You never in your life once talked about the Amadou Diallo shooting. You never once talked about Khalif Browder. And then you see something on the news where they show like that guy in Ohio got shot in the back in his car in front of his kids. Well, that was a domestic violence situation. And his black baby's mom called the cops on him. They didn't show the part where he got tased twice and he still got up and walked into the car, reached in the glove compartment. All the women were screaming, no, don't do it. What do you think a cop's going to do if he's reaching for a weapon in the glove compartment? That guy might have been on drugs too. And so everybody's, oh, those racist cops are. So we get it wrong when it was a legit shooting. And then we ignore the real cop murders like the Amadou Diallo case. And then white people love to say, oh, I'm not racist, or I got a black friend. And this lady, she goes into, look at my black boyfriend or my black baby's dad. Thomas Jefferson had a black girlfriend and she was a slave. You'll never see me on here saying, I'm not racist because I got a black child and I have a black baby's mom. The only time that has come up when I show them pictures of my daughter and someone said, the only reason you got custody is because your baby's mom is a black crackhead. And I've been accused of being racist. And the only reason that I had a kid with a black woman is because I have a chocolate fantasy and I'm a slave master and all this other stuff. But my lifestyle will prove differently. And plus you don't go raising your child of color if you're racist, if you just have a chocolate fantasy. Anyway, everybody knows that about me, but this is hilarious how she goes, look at me with my one black friend my black, partially person of color baby's dad. I'm not racist. It's Generation Z. Or she must be, I mean, she looks like she's in her 20s. They're so lost. They'll call they'll call stuff racism when it's not. And then they'll be so triggered if you say, well, you got some racist tendencies. Like, all of us have different prejudices in our life. Like, look at that fat person, look at that short person, or look at that kid with Down syndrome. You know, I got a sister with Down syndrome. I used to hate hearing people say the word retard all the time. Now it's so prevalent. You know, I'll tell people they're retarded, but that's because I'm using the word as you're slow. You are very slow to learn or try and fight for your kid. But anyway, let's take a look at this woman. So obviously I was pointing out, I said she's probably racist because she has this fascist, bigoted view of men, and she can't empathize or even listen to what they're saying because she's part of the radical feminist, fascist, unconstitutional division of child support. Now, she's probably not going to listen to this whole thing because she doesn't want to hear the truth. But the division of child support is unconstitutional. The founding fathers said they wanted no debts criminalized. Think about that. The founders who made the Constitution, so they wanted not one single debt criminalized because they used to throw people in jail in Europe for being behind on money. Just think if your Victoria's Secret's line of credit, or your Visa, or your, or your mortgage or whatever, like your house might get turned over to somebody else. But think if you went to jail for your debts. That would be insane. But they do it for IRS tax debt and for division of child support. And then they'll take away your passport and your driver's license. And this lady is on videos on her channel. Oh, we'll take away your driver's license. She actually did in one video. This is how callous and evil she is. She goes, well, it's inconvenient for you to pay your back child support. What's inconvenient for me to let you drive? And I'm going to post that video on my YouTube channel to show what a fascist oligarch mentality and what a narcissist, abusive, passive-aggressive, gaslighting abuser this lady is. She's like, well, I'm not going to let you drive. Do you know that is a constitutional right? Freedom of movement and travel. Having a license actually is technically unconstitutional. It was created for commercial driving, for truck drivers. We shouldn't even have to have a license, but we just gave in, just like a marriage license. You got to get the government's permission to get married. Birth certificates, all this stuff was to keep track of us. People who dive into that know that. We didn't have that throughout the history of the world, except people were always taxed, so they had to go back and pay their taxes or whatever. That's about it. But every single part of us is marked and barcoded, and, you know, social security number, which wasn't supposed to be used for identity. We were promised it wouldn't, and now you can't do anything without your social security number half the time. So this lady is part of that system, that fascist, corrupt system to control people, to extort their money and take their money. And we know about that Minnesota case that everybody brags. There's that one lady who sits in her office that's all like bright white around, white table, white bookshelves. And she gets up there and she knows a little something about the law, and she's not a lawyer. And she's like, I got one for you now. This black lady, she always has long, straight hair, I think. I forget her name, but I did a video on her. I got one for you now. Minnesota declared child support unconstitutional. It was the Division of Child Support's operation. So this lady works in an unconstitutional system. And she's doing all this. Go watch her videos. Don't trust me. Go watch them. She says, you guys can have 50-50 if you want to. Total lie, total disregard to the hell that men go through. There's men who are suicidal because these women are taking and abusing the kids and taking them away from them. And then she says stuff like, well, if you don't want to pay your back child support, if that's inconvenient for you, then it's inconvenient for me to let you have a license. What kind of psychotic, hateful, oligarchy, fascist, dictator mentality is that? She's on here just showing this. And then she tells people, well, I would advise you to do this. Or here's 5 things you should do when you come across a child support. Giving legal advice left and right. And then she's saying, James, I'm going to tell the Bar Association on you. I already filed a complaint. That ain't going to go anywhere. That's another reason this lady's fascist. She doesn't want me to come on here and exercise my free speech right to tell you what worked for me and has worked for other people that I saw with my own eyes. That's how delusional she is. And she's such a vindictive weirdo. She's all triggered. Oh, you said racist. And us white libtards that Malcolm X warned you guys about, we love going out here and saying, we're for mixes of all races and stuff. And, you know, what does she do when she thinks I called her racist? I said she's probably is. That means I don't know her. I don't know if she is. But she's acting like she has this fascist mentality. She's like, look at, I have a black boyfriend. Or a person of color. He's mixed Mexican, something. I can't be a racist because I'm dabbling. You know, I have a chocolate fantasy, so I can't be racist. Look, I have a black friend. I'm not racist. Anyway, that's why I said she's probably racist because she's a misandrist when it comes to men. But I'm going to do some more videos on her.